There are many farm structures in the farm. The physical constructions put up on the farm are called farm structures, and they are used to increase efficiency in production. Some of them include crushes, cattle dips, and fences. Lesson objectives. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to describe parts of a building, describe various farm structures and their uses, identify materials for construction, describe siting of various farm structures, construct and maintain farm structures. Background information. In your previous studies, you covered common livestock management practices. These include control of parasites and diseases, breeding, dehorning, castration, hoof trimming, etc. These practices need to be done in special livestock handling structures, for example, a crush. Livestock management practices include control of parasites and diseases, breeding, dehorning, castration, and hoof trimming. These practices need to be done in special livestock handling structures, for example, a crush. Suggested activities. Observe the wall and the roof of various buildings in the school and identify the construction materials used. Give probable reasons why these materials were used. Identify the types of fences used in the school compound. Identify the various parts of a roof made up of timber in your area. Visit a dairy farm and observe features of a dairy shed. Discuss maintenance practices that can be carried out on a dairy shed. Visit an apiary and study how bees are placed. Construct any of the following livestock structures: a crush, a rabbit hutch. From the list given below, identify the advantages of using concrete as a construction material. Do so by clicking on the correct statement. By clicking on true or false buttons, identify the importances of farm buildings. Fill by typing in the blank spaces the part of a plunge dip that carries out the function given below. By drag and drop, match the statements given below in the box on the advantages and disadvantages of a plunge dip. Drag and drop the statements given below into the appropriate box. Glossary. Acaricide is a substance that kills ticks and mites. A brick is a baked or dried clay used for building. Concrete is a mixture of water, gravel, sand, and cement allowed to dry and used for construction of farm buildings. Deep wash is a mixture of acaricide and water in a deep tank. Eave is the part of a roof that protects beyond the wall that supports it. Enterprise is an organized business activities aimed specifically at growth and profit. Farm structures are different types of physical constructions that are put up on the farm. Fermentation is anaerobic breakdown of organic materials by the action of enzymes produced by microorganisms. Fingerling is young one of fish less than 1 year old. Fish pond is a structure used for rearing fish. Forage are plants grown to feed livestock. Greenhouses are structures made of glass or translucent walls and roof and are used for growing crops. Hedge is a close-set row of bushes, usually with their branches intermingled, forming a barrier or boundary in the farm. Hutch is a small shelter usually constructed from wire and wood for keeping small animals such as rabbits. Latch is a device for holding a door, gate, or other opening closed, consisting of a movable bar that drops into a hole or notch. Parasite is an organism which lives on or in another organism and depends on it for food and/or shelter, causing harm to it. Predator is an animal that kills and eats other animals. Silo is a structure for storing grains, animal feeds, or for making silage. Silage is an animal fodder that is made by storing grain materials in a silo where it is preserved by partial fermentation. Strut is a rod or bar used to strengthen or support a structure. Translucent is allowing light to pass through but only diffusely so that objects on the other side cannot be clearly distinguished. Truss is a physical structure with a network of beams and bars used to support roofing materials. Odor is a smell whether pleasant or unpleasant. Wall plate is a horizontal structural member placed along the top of a wall to support the ends of beams or trusses.
Farm buildings. Types of farm buildings: homesteads, houses for farm animals, stores for farm produce, tools, equipment, inputs and machinery, buildings for growing crops, for example greenhouses, and buildings for processing farm produce.
Parts of a farm building. A building consists of a foundation, walls, and the roof. A wooden roof has several parts. These are cross-tie beam, which connects the roof to the wall, strut, which supports the rafters, tie, which supports the rafters, rafters, which support the purlins, purling, which supports the roofing materials, and eaves, which protects the wall against rainwater. Label the parts marked on the diagram below by dragging and dropping the correct choice given below into the appropriate box. Planning and siting of farm structures. Siting of farm structures. Factors to consider when siting farm structures: the location of homestead, direction of prevailing wind, topography, accessibility, and security. The following are some of the factors considered when planning for farm structures. By clicking on the appropriate buttons, identify these factors from the options provided. Perimeter fence. The perimeter fence marks the boundary of the farm. Farmer's house. The farmer's house should be near the main road. Poultry house. The poultry house should be near the homestead to provide security for the birds. Piggery. The piggery should be constructed on the leeward side of the homestead in order not to allow foul smell from there getting to the homestead. Greenhouses. Greenhouses are structures made of glass or translucent walls and roofs and are used for growing crops. The size of greenhouse constructed by the farmer depends on the type of crop to be grown, scale of production of the farmer, availability of capital, and availability of construction materials. Importance of greenhouses. The use of greenhouses in crop production is increasingly becoming popular in Kenya. They protect the crops against excess sunlight, cold weather, pests, and diseases. Livestock handling structures. Animal crush. A crush is a farm structure made up of a holding yard and a fenced narrow passage. Some routine animal husbandry practices carried out to an animal in a crush include spraying with acaricide, identification, vaccination, dehorning, and artificial insemination.
Cattle dip. A dip is a farm structure constructed for control of external parasites. There are two types of dips. These are plunge dips, where animals are totally immersed in the deep wash, and Machakos dips, where animals stand in the deep wash and only the belly, legs, and the underside of the animal are beneath the surface of the wash. Calf pens. A calf pen is a shelter in which a dairy calf is reared during the early stages of growth up to 16 weeks. Calves should be reared in a calf pen with the following features: concrete floor for ease of cleaning, single housing to avoid leaking of each other, properly drained to avoid wetness, leak-proof roof to avoid wetness. Piggery or pigsty unit. A piggery is a structure used for housing pigs. Pigs are sensitive to extreme weather conditions because of the thin hair covering on their body. They should therefore be provided with a warm and well-ventilated house. A good piggery unit is composed of the following parts: feed store, records room, pig pens, gilts pen, boar's pen, in-pig pens, weaners or fatteners pen, farrowing pens, running yard, water troughs or drinking nipples. Rabbitry. A rabbitry is a structure used for housing rabbits. There are two types of rabbit houses. These are the Morant cage and the hatch. Structural requirements of a good rabbit hatch are: should be spacious, well ventilated, leak-proof roof, well-drained floor which should be raised above the ground.
Fences. Importance and types of fences. A fence is a structure that encloses a designated area and forms a physical barrier for animals and humans. The following are importances of fences: marking of boundaries, keeping intruders and wild animals outside the farm, enable farmers to isolate sick animals from the rest of the herd, makes rotational grazing possible through paddocking, enable farmers to control breeding, enable farmers to practice mixed farming, and acts as windbreaks. Procedure of fencing. There are many types of fences that can be established in the farm. A farmer may plant hedges or use other non-living materials for fencing. For example, wood, wires, and posts, among others. Procedure of fencing. There are many types of fences that can be established in the farm. A farmer may plant hedges or use other non-living materials for fencing. For example, wood, wires, and posts, among others.